All right, good evening, race fans. Man, I tell you what, we're live tonight here at Las Vegas Speedway, and ought to be a good one here tonight with the Sim500 Ford Entertainment Group. That's right, racing for some PCs here tonight. And Las Vegas is a unique track that, Alex, it's going to be a tough one here for drivers because of one thing. It's more momentum. Very hard to pass, and a lot of these guys are going to be running about the same thing.
Yeah, I definitely second that, Joe, about especially how momentum can play such a huge factor on whether or not you can move up in the field or make those passes or whatnot. Because just watching the race today, because that's where we were, was Vegas today as well, sets me up pretty good looking at this track, and also knowing what I know about this track is it can be very difficult to pass here, like you were saying too. So let's see if these guys can keep it good rolling in tonight and have an entertaining race for us. It looks like we're about to go green.
Absolutely, here we go. Josh Parker and company out front. And look at old Parker, man. Looks like he's got a pulling it out with the Toyotas up front here tonight. Him and Kevin Brown right there. Green flag flies, and a little bit of a checkup on the start there. Maybe not how they wanted to start it out, but the restarts here at this track definitely will be wild. And here's where you're going to have to be a little bit aggressive, because like what we talked about, as the run goes on, it's going to make it harder to pass here. Tires, tires, yeah, it could be a factor. We could see a lot of pit stop strategies here, because if it goes a long green flag run, you're going to need that pit strategy to get back to the front, because you're going to see the lap times, like you said. I mean, even in the real race, it's just a tough one. So on these restarts here, Alex, you got to get what you can get, and sometimes that's where you can get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, usually sometimes these guys on restarts, especially at this kind of track, just like you were saying, Joe, these restarts can get a little squirrely, because I think track position plays a huge factor in tonight's race here at Las Vegas. So if you don't have the track position, then hopefully you got a good pit strategy to make up for where you're starting or where you're currently at. So looking at how that could play a factor this evening, I think track position plays a huge factor in this race.
Right now, Kevin Brown's out front. There you go. Josh Parker sitting in second. You got Justin Fuller. I talked about Justin Fuller for a little bit, and I think this is maybe the second time we've seen him in the season here, taking a little bit of break off and whatnot. But right now, he's up there to third. He loves, I've always said to him, got that one speed. It's kind of wide open about him. We'll have to see how this track plays into his favor, because pretty much you are wide open here. I mean, you don't really, you don't lift a lot. You don't use a lot of the brake. You will kind of what they call trail brake a little bit to try to slow the car down, but you do not want to give up a lot of that momentum at this place, because you can lose a lot. It's got Glenn Campbell hanging on right there in Ford. Daniel Falkenham, we know about him. You got to go a little bit further on back here, around about right here, about 10th on back. You got a lot of side-by-side racing.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I was thinking would happen. They get the front fanning out pretty much single file a little bit. You get those nice battles going on, not as much here and there, but more frequently throughout, especially pretty close to after these restarts, or these starts pretty much since we just started. So these guys are doubled up pretty much. What I'd say maybe 10th to about 20th or 22nd, something like that. These guys are just doubled up like that. Look at the looks of it. But what I'm looking at is the grooves that people are using, because at this track you could run different grooves. It looked like you could run pretty close to the bottom on 1 and 2, and then a little bit higher in 3 and 4. But it looks like these guys are pretty much staying close-ish to the bottom, if not right in that middle groove or so.
Absolutely, and right now looking pretty good. And I think the bottom groove will be the place that you want to go. You might get traveled up out to the kind of middle high side. We're watching Timothy Johnson right there in company with Ryan. You got Anthony Calatoni there in that mix. You just got a slew of great drivers, and what they're trying to do is, well, get out front. Excuse me, but sorry about that, folks. Just one of them things. Right now, though, you're going to see these guys trying to get out from each other here and try to get single file as much as they can. And then from there, we're going to start seeing these small battles. You know, guys making passes, guys better on the longer runs, guys better on the shorter runs, and so forth.
Yeah, and usually that's what you get here at these 1.5 mile tracks, because this is a 1.5 mile. Won't dive into the schematics of it just yet, but usually that's what you see is, just like you were saying, Joe, is about the guys that are really good short runs here and guys that are really good long runs. It's kind of like you got two sides of the coin. It seems like sometimes you get some of those that are in the middle that are just mediocre both ways, but we'll see who gets put into which category this evening, as I should say. So, as we got nice battles going on here and there, and this kind of goes to show a little bit how some of these battles have been going on for a couple laps, just how hard it is to gain that position, especially with the traffic you got in these situations. But we'll see a little bit more when it comes to like one-on-one battles, when there's a little bit more space between people, to see how actually difficult it can be to pass at a track like this one.
Absolutely, man, you're right. I mean, still, though, these guys are locked up side by side back here in the back. You got Robert, Tommy Ryan there, Jose Gonzalez. The problem is, if you're marred back here in traffic, you can see already just how tough it is to pass and how tough it is to get to the front. I mean, you just cannot go anywhere here. I mean, lap times are in the 32 throughout the whole entire field.
Yeah, and with how even those guys are, just like you were saying, every lap time you're saying is in the 32-second range. With 36 cars here tonight, that is going to make a very close and very competitive field, and that's just kind of what we've been seeing. These guys are, especially these guys rolling, because you got everyone in the top 10 within, 2.5 seconds of each other or so. That's pretty close, especially at a track like this where you can get some guys that just shoot out and get out. Once again, that open space up front, they just take off. So that just goes to show how even this field is and how competitive these guys are.
Well, so far, we got a lot of single file racing going on out front. You still got Kevin Brown leading in here with the field, looking pretty good, man. As these guys are just trying to hang on. Josh Parker takes the lead, though.
Yeah, and these three up front, looks like Josh Parker, Brown, and Fuller, too. They've been pretty close. As you can see, the three of them running up there, they've been like that the entirety of this race. So we'll see how these guys make do as they're putting a little bit of space. It looks like Fuller's making a move, trying to get that P2 spot coming in into 3 and 4 right here. We'll see if he can take it off, or if, oh yeah, it looks like he closes the deal. So he takes that second place away from Brown right there. So these guys are doing pretty good jobs. It looks like Josh Parker's trying to send her off into the above and beyond. Get a little space between him and these guys.
No man's land. Well, right here comes Justin Fuller. We talked about him. I said, man, the man's going to be able to pull up. He wants to take that spot away, and he does. He's up the second right now. Remember, Fuller, he is definitely fast, and he's going to be one to watch as he's got that closing rate here on Parker.
Yeah, he definitely does, and he's bringing. I mean, Kevin's kind of hanging up there with him, as those two in 4th and 5th right there are still behind him, Campbell and Comstock. That says Campbell, right? Yeah, it looks like it. So those guys are duking it out right now for that 4th place position. They're side by side right now coming along the backstretch. But Jacob Fuller, like you said, he's got some nice speed, and he's got Josh Parker right in his crosshairs. So we'll see what he can do with that and get up to the lead.
Good, man, battle up front. Kevin Brown's hanging on right there to 3rd place. Josh Parker. Looks like Justin is closing in just a little bit there. Oh, contact between 2 cars behind. Not sure who that was, but that was right behind there. Actually, looks like, man, they held on to it. That was E.J. O'Rourke and Chad Coleman.
Yeah, these guys are going 3 wide into the turn right here. Usually, I don't see too much 3 wide racing here. hopefully they don't make a regular of it, because things can get pretty dicey in these turns here, especially going 3 wide. And who knows, maybe if these guys go 4 wide, we could see some nasty, crazy stuff going on. It looks like most of the field's pretty much singling out now from the looks of it, from what I'm seeing. So now we'll be getting those battles here and there, but everyone is still super close. And seeing how these guys are racing this evening, I think it's going to be a great night here.
I tell you what, that was a little bit there. Now, the one thing about here at this track, you can save it a little bit here. So, yeah, that's the one good thing about this place. And so you get a little bit of sideways, you can. Now, these cars don't react kind of like what the Cup car does. The Cup car really reacts a little bit different. A lot easier, so to speak. This one doesn't have the downforce that the Cup car does.
Yeah, and as you were saying with those two guys getting contact, I think that was about the 4th, 5th, 6th place position or so, that battle going on behind the leaders. It looks like Jacob Fuller's right up there with Josh Parker from what I saw in that little clip, but those guys saved it pretty well, and they're still racing. So good job on them to save it. And it's like you were saying, saves, I've seen countless saves at this track here. So these guys are doing a great job. He's got a nice battle with Glenn Campbell right here going for that position. Looks like he secures that position on the low line, leaving 45 up there to dry. Hold on a second. Okay, yeah, there we go. So, yeah, it looks like he's secured that spot pretty good, and he's going up there, seeing if he can make any moves, trying to get back, because he was sitting there in about that 5th or 4th place position or so, and then I guess he got that contact and slowed him up a little bit, but he saved it, so now he's roaring back up, see what he can make up from that.
Well, like you said, good run. Josh Parker still hanging on to the top spot right now. You see him back here, Anthony Calatoni and company back here. We've got a good, but actually that's Robert Gillenwater and Jose Gonzalez. Always kind of Speedy Gonzalez out there, looking pretty good. And we got a couple cars off the track in the very back. No caution, but let's go back here and see what happened. Eric Arnold and company. I can see what happened to him. Said he went off track. 31 machine there. We're going to watch this replay here real quick, Alex, and kind of see maybe him and 8 machine got together. Oh, got a little loose, it looked like, and then slams the wall. Boy, that could have been disastrous. Now, everybody's probably wondering, well, why wasn't there caution? Well, they're off the racing surface, and iRacing's just not going to throw one. So they're safely off, and you can see Eric, man, zoop right on through the grass there. Give him a little weed eat trim.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure last week we were talking about getting the lawnmowers out. So
V8 style lawnmower, that is.
But it's a good job on all 3 of those guys. 2 of them, 3 of them. Looked like it was the 3 of them. 3 of them saving it and keeping it. So we're not under caution. So that's a kind of just like you were saying earlier, Joe. The kind of stuff that you could see here is some good saves going on. So, and that's exactly what we saw.
Still got a good battle happening right here with Jose, and you got Mike Motesi there. And this is what you're going to kind of see at Las Vegas so far. Caution-free, knock on wood. And usually a Las Vegas style track, cautions usually tend to happen when you maybe get a little tight and get up into that wall like we were talking about before. Right now, though, you're going to see these little battles happen throughout the field because we talk about lap times. Josh Parker ran a 33.01. If I tell you what, Justin Fuller ran a 33.01, so they ran all dead even right there. But the whole entire field, I mean, all 34 machines, 36 machines out here are in the 33 bracket. So we're not even talking about a second separating the field. Now, obviously, everybody's like, well, they're split up, Joe, on the field. Well, yes, over time, the gap will increase. But what that tells us is here, Alex, and we've talked about it a million times, is you're not going to see anybody blow through the field like gangbusters here. I mean, if you're marred in the back, it's going to be very hard to pass. If you're back in the back, I'm going to say 10th, 15th on back, you're going to find yourself hard pressed to make it to the front. I'm going to say you're either going to need a caution, or you're going to have to do some wild stuff on pit road.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into what I said earlier, because once it gets spaced out like this, and there's that little fall off a little bit, kind of like you were just talking about, and how even it is, you're gonna need some a little dash of luck from Lady Luck to come help you, and maybe that luck comes on good pit road times and whatnot, so you can gain a couple positions or whatnot, or making those moves on those restarts, given if we have a caution or whatnot. So, like you said, knock on wood right here on my little desk. So, usually when I say something, it happens, but when you say something, it's either hit or miss. But it seems like every time I say it, it's like, hey,
look, we always call it the broadcaster's jinx. You know, I get up here and I start getting excited talking about a driver or something like that. Next day I know, yeah, I'm showcasing him and talking about him, and then bam, he hits the wall, and I'm going, you know what, we don't talk about him no more. Or try not to anyway. So we definitely don't want to showcase him like that. But I will say this, look at it in the back here. You know, always like kind of showcase a lot of guys. You know, unfortunately, not everybody can make it up front there. But you got old Joe Hudson, Steve Herring, you know, John Wilco back here running, Jeff Ryan and company, Dowie Woods back here in the back, Richard Beasley. I mean, you got a lot of great names again on a track like this, though. When you're marred in the back. Very, very tough. Folks, we're live tonight here at Las Vegas for the Ford Entertainment Group Xfinity Series of the Sim500. Live tonight on OSR Network here on YouTube, Facebook. And there's the yellow flag, and not quite sure. Oh, it looks like Dennis Briegel got a little bit of a bump in the back, and them two just went around. Gotcha. Boom. Right in the wall. Surprised that I think when he was spinning is what brought out the caution. That's kind of the difference. He was really off the race surface there, but I think what the caution flew due to the fact of they were spinning at the time. You know, the long amount of spin there. So if you kind of look at the difference between that and why the other one didn't throw a caution, I know a lot of people be like, "Oh, what's the difference?" Kind of looked like the caution threw when they were in the process of spinning, and they stayed on the track surface so long, and iRacing triggered it. If they instantly probably would have got down on that apron, it might not have triggered it right off, because you do have a lot of runoff here, and in some tracks you have a lot of runoff that they won't throw that caution. So the first time out, hey, look, we were just talking about it. See, that's what happens, man, Alex.
Maybe I should just not talk at all. It's kind of what I'm thinking.
Well, I tell you, I don't know. But, man, let's see. Want to talk to somebody?
What?
I said you want to bring up anybody and talk to them.
Can we still do that?
Yeah, we can do that. What do you mean, can we still do that?
No, I was, because we were having trouble.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I don't know if I can move them. Let me see. No, dang, I can't. See, all right, fellas, anybody out there listening, y'all going to have to give me some permissions here on the thing. Kevin Brown, boy, I tell you what, right there, I've always talked about mental mistakes. Perfect example, that number 93 machine slid in his pit box, had to back up slightly. That's going to cost him a lot of time, a lot on pit road. And you know, and I know, and right there just cost him a ton of positions that really on a track like this you do not want to happen, because trying to make up those positions, it is going to be really, really hard. Saved by mental mistakes. So, but looks like Justin Fuller winning it off pit road, and looks like Josh Parker, slow pit stop. Not quite. He's got a penalty. Josh Parker. Uh-oh. I think he got caught speeding on pit road.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked like he got off first, but then he just started sitting there and waving as everybody else was passing him. So I was thinking that he did pick up a penalty from that. So, unfortunate little turn of events right here is Jacob Fuller is now in the lead with Daniel Falkingham right there with him on the front row. And we've been talking about Daniel Falkingham a little bit recently, in the last couple weeks, because he has been a force to be reckoned with right there. And so We will see, but Jacob Fuller, he has a very fast car, so we'll see. And this is where we're going to see some of that slice and dicing kind of stuff. We're going to see some guys make some bold moves here on this restart, especially now that everyone's got fresh tires and some more fuel, all that jazz. So we're going to see some action. Hopefully not, obviously, caution-worthy action, but we're going to see some action here on this upcoming restart.
And here's what hurts on Josh Parker's part. There's not many cars that are lap down, if any. So he's going to be back in 29th position. And again, on a track like this, that is not how you want to start. He's going to need some help getting back to the front. So it's going to be an uphill battle for him for the rest of the race here. He's got plenty of time to get it done, but now it's just pretty much going to be an uphill battle for him to get back to the front. His whole entire evening now is going to be just trying to get back in contention to get up there. As Justin Fuller's going to lead it, Daniel Falkenham's there, David Comstock. There's another one's real fast. E.J. O'Rourke, good to see him out there running. Ryan Hopper. I hope I said that right. Hopner? Hopner? Is that right? Hopner?
That's what it looks like to me.
All right, sound good to me. Ryan Howard, though, so we got a couple of Ryans right there, 56. Chad Coleman hang on to 7th. Kevin Brown there at 8th. Glenn Campbell up to 9th. And Jose rounds the top 10s. We get set to go back green.
Yeah, and we'll see with, especially, this will put to test what I was saying earlier about that track position and or pit stop strategy to gain those positions, because once the fall off happens and all that, and it comes really even between the field. It's been even the entirety of this race so far. Like you're saying, everybody's within a second of each other. So that just shows how difficult it can be. And we'll see if Josh Parker can defy that, because I was saying earlier about how having good track position and maybe using your pit stop strategy for making those moves, as now he's coming up from 29th. We'll see if he can defy what I was saying, but it looks like we're about to come green here soon, with Fuller leading him off from the top lane.
It is. Here we go. Out of turn 4, pace car is going to do a drop off here. You got Justin Fuller, Daniel Falkenham and company. Who's it going to be? Like I said, these restarts going to be wild. Everybody is on new tires. And this is where you got to be kind of aggressive. It looks like 13 just did not get the start he needed right there. David Comstock.
No, it didn't, and that can spell some trouble. As it looked like he was getting pretty close right there with that 24 machine. So that was pretty close.
Trying to knock his momentum down, it looked like, going into that turn there. I mean, he didn't want him to get around him, but you can see fighting back on the inside, because that 24 knows, and that's Ryan there, knows that he's got to get everything he can before, kind of the run goes on. Kevin Brown understands the same situation. As right now, everybody's just trying to get what they can get up front. You see Ryan right there. Looks like he's going to pass old Comstock. Let's look back and see what Parker's trying to do. Parker understands he's fast. He's going to gain some positions. He's up to 23rd. Boy, he has still got a long way to go. As back up front here, you got Comstock, Kevin Brown trying to see what he can make up. He lost a lot of positions, or a couple positions on pit road.
Yeah, and that's just, well, like you were talking about his little having to fix himself in the pit stall, so he's still sitting okay. He's sitting up there a little bit, so we'll see how he can bounce back from that little mistake, as we're heads up with Ryan Howard right now in this nice Kit Kat machine. Always like Kit Kats. Can't eat any right now, but that's okay.
Why not?
Because I'm doing this this little challenge. It's called a 75 hard challenge. And,
okay. What's that? Maybe I need that, because I'm a fat guy.
It's obviously 75 days long. You got 2 workouts a day. Each of them have to be minimum 45 minutes. And one of them has to be outside, because you cannot control the weather. And a big part of this challenge is a mental, toughness challenge, right? So that weather you can't like control the weather. Kind of part of it is like you can't control everything in your life, and it's gonna throw some curveballs at you. Like I think the first 2 days it was raining, and I mean, I don't mind getting wet. I mean, I was in the Marine Corps. We trained in the water all the time, so I don't mind getting wet.
Oh, okay.
So 2 workouts, 45 minutes minimum. You read 10 pages of a personal development book a day. You drink a gallon of water. You do not, you follow a diet, and you do not cheat on it, nor do you drink any alcohol, anything like that. Okay. And so, I'm trying to hold true to that diet because,
there you go. Well, I tell you what, folks, see, there you go. We got great racing, and we got great fitness information on the channel here for you. So look at Kevin Brown, though. He's definitely making his way to the front there, working it up. And, you know, you talk about a workout there, too. I mean, that kind of fits in a little bit because, you know, we talk about, you know, the biggest thing that comes up with the race car drivers in real life. Well, they're not athletes and all. But I'm going to tell you what, when you're in a 110-degree car for 4 to 5 hours and you're muscling those cars around, some of those floor pans can get up to 120, 130 degrees. I mean, I remember one time they did an experiment. They fried an egg in the passenger side floorboard of one of the cars. So it just tells you how hot it gets in there. Yes, these guys wear fire suits. They wear fire protective gear on their feet, but there's a misconception about that equipment. Is it's not meant to sustain. It's only meant for a short amount of time, and they still can get burnt. They still can get hot in those suits, and they dehydrate a lot. I mean, obviously these guys are drinking fluids throughout. So yeah, taking it back to, you got to be an exceptional athlete, and the G-forces that they endure in real life. Now, bringing that over to the sim world, probably thinking about, well, these guys, man, just in a sim. If you've ever raced in a sim rig, any competent style sim rig, more or less, now I'm not going to say you're going to get hot or anything, because most of these guys probably in an air conditioned room or whatnot, but your arms can get very tired because of the forces of the force feedback that some of these guys produce, especially in a direct drive wheel. Direct drive wheel very, very much mimics what a real race car is. They call Newton meters and stuff like that. But for the most part, you know, I've drove a 3-hour race one time. Let me tell you what, after 3 hours, my arms were like, you know, my feet, my legs, just by sitting, you know, in the rig and so forth, so on. So kind of gives you an idea of, you know, we were talking about the fitness aspect of stuff. You really, I ain't saying you got to be in perfect shape to do sim racing, but to be a real race car driver, yeah, you better be in some darn good shape to get out there and withstand what those guys do.
Yeah, and talking about the heat in the cars real quick, obviously that's going to make you sweat bullets, man. So going off of that, you better make sure you're hydrated and you're constantly hydrating, because if you get too dehydrated, gets real lightheaded, could spell some very big issues on the track for not just yourself, but possibly some of the other drivers. So that's where you got to know, hey, like, you got to be able to tell yourself, you know what I mean? Be like, hey, you just got to be honest with yourself, man, and you just got to make sure you're keeping up that hydration, because you are sweating a boatload. And once, say, you get under caution and you start cooling down, then you get right back up and start sweating, all that jazz, your temperature's fluctuating and whatnot. That could honestly spell some not too good health hazards, especially in the
biggest thing.
You get fatigued real easy. All that jazz could be definitely troublesome.
Absolutely, and I mean, you just see. I mean, a lot of it is mental aspect here. You know, over and over and over again, just trying to maintain the same line. We're riding here with David Comstock, and you can just see smoothness is the key here to this track. He's moved up the fourth, went around EJ right there. EJ just a little bit dropping off the pace. Looks like that car's not. It's like it's pushing up the track just a little bit, and that's kind of what it tends to here at this place. You see him right there, fighting the wheel a little, coming off 4. We always call that kind of a loose, tight condition. And just to explain that a little bit, you can see the car just does not want to go down to low. He looks a little bit tight, smooth right there. But when we talk about loose, tight, here's kind of a simple way to talk. You go in a turn like this, and you see right there, that car looked way tight there, didn't want to go in. But what happens is, obviously, the rear end won't start coming around. You let off the gas. The problem with that is when you let off the gas, the car starts slowing down. You can straighten it back up. The bad thing is you want to instantly mash back on the gas. But once you mash back on the gas, guess what? Sometimes that car can instantly then want to just head straight for the wall. That's what it calls a push. And then the flip side of that, we're seeing it right here with EJ. He's going into the turn here. The car don't want to rotate. It wants to go straight to the wall. You let off of the gas. You kind of let it rotate, and then you get back on the gas too much, and then you get loose coming out of the turn, and you have to let off it again. You lose a lot of momentum. So kind of a two sides there to it. And, just doesn't really work out too well. So right now it looks like EJ's kind of fighting a tight condition in that car. Just does not want to hold down. Now, maybe later in the run, see one of the cars right there just, what in the world that was? Ouch. I don't know who that was. It just went off the road, but no caution. Let me see if I can find who that was. I think that was not Letting Woods. Wasn't Anthony. Oh, Dennis Briegel again, lap car there. I think he just tried to get out of the way and bounced her right off the wall. Unfortunately, I'm going to watch it right here on this replay one more time. Again, folks, a lot of times here at iRacing, and you know that, you've seen this time and time again, Alex, here on iRacing, it won't throw a caution because of, one, just where it's at. And man, almost got into the leader. Well, that was close. Justin Fuller right there. And you see him just trying to stay out of the picture up top, and then the car just got a little bit out from under him. He tried to hang on to it. Still holding on to it right there, but we saw him bump the wall. Oh, he tried to get out of the way, and then it just shot up the track. 3 wide right there. And caught the wall. When he did, he tried to overcorrect and got down there. The 84 Anthony Calatoni, nowhere to go. And you can see the reason no caution is because he went off the racing surface. Maintained and went straight on. So, wow.
Yeah, and that looked like a pretty good save from, I think that was Gonzalez right there, who ended up getting into it a little bit. He saved it pretty good right there.
Anthony's the one that suffered the most right there, that red and blue car. He's the one that suffered the most. He got in the back end of it.
Oh, yeah. See, watching how that was going. So, and that's Josh Parker right there with them.
You can see right there the damage.
Oof.
Ouch. Pancake the front.
I like pancakes, but I can't.
Well, yeah, not that kind though, but well, good run up front here. Let's see. We got Kevin Brown. He is still up in 5th, falling off just a little bit. It's all Justin Fuller right now, but we got Daniel Falkenham, man, breathing down his back deck lid.
Yeah, he is. It looked like when you were showing that replay, it looked like he lost a little bit of ground catching up with that lap car, like you were just talking about. It looked like he lost a little bit, but Daniel's been pretty close. He's been within striking distance about the entire time, as we got a caution now.
Caution? All right. Hey, what's up, Jeff Brown? How you doing? Oh, man, Joey Katina around. Go back and watch what happened to Joey back here. He's with the 26 machine. And him and Jose just got together a little bit. Next thing you know, whamma.
Pow, right in the kisser.
Oh. Ouch. Not what they wanted to see right there.
Not at all. But something I want to talk about real quick, too, is Josh Parker making those moves. Now he's up to 16th. So this restart could spell some good stuff for him. I'm voting we will probably see some pit stops because the first one was about 30 laps and this one was 25. Yeah, as we got these guys coming down pit road, see what we got going here.
I got to keep in mind.
If
I'm not mistaken, remember they only have the 3 sets of tires here unless they gave an extra one. So keep that in mind as we might see some guys take tires here, might see some just take fuel. That is the only way that I see anybody coming through the field is when you get guys that might in the back gamble on taking a set of tires early to get that track position. Let's say like Josh Parker. Let's say he takes tires at this moment because you can see a lot of them guys right there just took fuel. EJ, Justin, a lot of those guys. And yeah, I just said it. Josh Parker's going to gamble and take tires. You know why? Because he's going to be on about 20-some lap newer tires, and he needs to make that track position up. And this is the only way that I can see for him to make up a tremendous amount of track position. And this is the only way you're going to see anybody come through the field. Somebody on a way newer tires. So, yes, now you're going to probably see what we were talking about earlier, nobody coming through the field. You're probably going to see Josh Parker come through that field. He's going to have to utilize those new tires now because that's one set less that he's going to have, that these guys are going to have if a caution comes out late in the race. Again, everybody's going to have to make another pit stop. They went, 30-some laps before? I think they could go about 40, 50 laps. They run 100% fuel here, so fuel's usually never an issue unless it's just it's tight on fuel sometimes. But I don't think fuel's going to be an issue now. You see a lot of these guys coming down, topping off. I think they can go pretty much the rest of the way when they do the one more pit stop for tires. But Parker had to. He come back out 14th. Just keep an eye on him. I believe it won't take him. It's going to take him several laps to get up there. But with those new tires, yes, he definitely. And there was a couple other guys who took some 4 tires too. Ryan took them. Chad Coleman, Daniel, David Comstock. I said he had a 14-second run. Ryan Howard, Glenn Campbell, Mike Kelly. So several other guys in front there. So the guys who didn't you see is Justin Fuller, Kevin Brown, EJ was the 3 main ones up front who did not take tires. I don't feel bad when they just drop off in the back a little bit. It's going to happen. So all them guys with new tires are pretty much going to come to the front.
Yeah, and I think this I don't think this is a bad gamble though. I think this is actually a pretty good call.
How much? Yeah.
Yeah, I think like you were saying, I think Justin Fuller right there, he might have obviously he is on 25, 26 lap older tires than these guys. These guys are just going to wave at them while they're going. And talking about how some of these guys are going to keep moving up, I think this is a great call for how those guys, especially Josh Parker coming in. He started that last restart, 28, 29. So these guys are going to have their hands full, especially the ones that didn't get their tires and they just took fuel. But that also is a gamble that those guys took, that these guys that didn't take tires can utilize a little bit later in the race, because it looks like some of these guys coming up, some of them are still in the top 10 that got that 4-tire stop. So we'll see how some of these guys are going to keep moving up through the field, especially on this little gamble as we're a little bit shy of halfway done with the race. Lap 65 or so will be halfway done as we're coming in, go green, coming into lap 59. And these guys are stacking up now. So we are going to be going green right here. Lights off the pace car coming off of turn 4. Right here, we'll see the pace car take a hard left right down pit road. And we're about to go green here at Las Vegas for the Sim500 Ford Entertainment Group Xfinity Series here on the Online Sim Racing Network. So pace car dips down. We're going green now. we'll see how some of these guys with newer tires probably get a little bit cleaner of a stop. So we're watching. Looks like a little bit of contact right there, but they kept it clean a little bit. So these guys are rolling, and give them a second to get started up, get those tires warm and whatnot. And so we got 3 wide. Oh, looked like 3 wide for a second. Almost 3 wide right there. Excuse me. Coming down, you just see some of these guys. Daniel Falkingham right there is making a quick move up front right here. He's already, looks like he touches Justin Fuller right there, and now he dips down, looking to secure that position, coming across the front stretch into turn 1, and he does. Some of these guys with these new tires are just screaming through already. You see some of them just moving up, and it looks like those new tires are definitely paying dividends, because Daniel Falkingham right there is gotten a nice little gap right there, about 0.3 of a second or so. Coming back around, there he is. Josh Parker sitting right there in that 8th spot, gambled on those tires. Looks like it's doing him pretty good as he moves up to that 7th place spot. These guys with these new tires are just cruising up front, as you see those guys with that didn't get those tires. Caution is out. We will see what happens here in just a second. I don't know why that caution came out, but like we were seeing, those guys that had those new tires came up front real quick. Looks like top 3 or 4 right here, the ones that got tires, and now they're the ones that made it up to the front past those guys like they weren't even moving. They're like, hey buddy, I'm just gonna squeeze right past you right here. Oop. But we're here under caution now, lap 62. And we'll take a quick peek at it in just a second for you guys. We'll take a quick peek here in just a second when Joe had to excuse himself for a moment. Something happening over there in the background. Need to get settled real quick. So Joe will be right back. He'll be able to help us out. Quick shout out to Joe. He does a great job letting me be able to come on here with him, because if anybody's listening and doesn't know, I don't have iRacing. I do not have the ability to watch this without Joe, and Joe is my lifeline to the world of iRacing. So he does a great job.
All right, man. Well, looks like we're under caution. What happened? What I mean?
Nah, I couldn't see it.
So I was like, let's go back and see, man. Pick it up here. It's like Joseph Burgess. Let's go back on the replay here. So we can pick up, car in front, the 8 machine, and Joseph nowhere to go. That actually collected Joe Hudson and Randy Yoakum. Tell you what, Randy Yoakum just man's in the wrong place, the wrong time a lot. All right, under caution here. Well, I tell you what, Daniel Falkingham right there. Sorry about that, folks. I'd step away for a minute. David Comstock out front. Oh, boy. Oh, cautions breed cautions a lot of times. Oh, Ryan Howard, though, moving it up. Mike Kelly right there up front. Glenn Campbell having a good run. Jeff, how you doing out there, man? Jeff Brown, how are you? Appreciate everybody out there. Hit those the likes and the shares. As always, we appreciate it. Get set, go back green here. Las Vegas style. You know what they say? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
They came in for that tire stop. They were cruising for a bruise, and those guys were moving through the field.
And they still are. I mean, because obviously Justin does not. He's out there, but he definitely is one of the ones who did take tires. Talk about Josh Parker, who took those tires. He's up to 7th. I mean, they got to utilize those things. Well, I tell you what, like I say, we're here at Las Vegas, Ford Entertainment Group here, and folks, if you're looking for a great PC, anything built sim-wise, check out Ford Entertainment Group, FEG out there. Jeff Ford does an outstanding job. He specializes mostly in sim racing style PCs, but man, he can build you about anything you want. Definitely custom built from whatever. I mean, low budget, high budget, super budget or whatever. You can also get you some great sim equipment, hooked up with some rig or a motion rig or anything like that. So definitely check him out. Proud sponsor here tonight for the Sim500 Xfinity Series of Ford Entertainment Group. He does an outstanding thing for the whole iRacing community. And I know a lot of guys who have bought his PCs and used him. So definitely check him out, man. Appreciate him coming on board here. Been a good one so far. I mean, again, most of these cautions, attributed to a lot of the restarts there, Alex. I mean, because you've got to be aggressive. We've talked about it. Now, though, here you've got to be more careful because you've got guys on new tires and guys on old tires. And it's something we really haven't talked about here because I can mix it up. You'll see right here on this restart, and, most notably Justin Fuller right there on an older set of tires. He's got to worry about spinning those tires on this restart here and not get run over by the guys behind him. I know he wants to maintain his track position, but, those tires just about won't let you.
Yeah, I think at this point, because you're coming up on, 36 old lap tires for Justin Fuller right here compared to some of these guys that have, 10 lap old tires or so.
Right.
So.
Right.
He's just, like you were saying, he's just going to try his best to hold what he can and still be competitive anyway, which he can, which is not doing too bad. But these guys on newer tires, like we've been saying, are just going to keep coming. They're going to keep pushing. And wasn't as dicey on the restart as I thought it would be personally. I expected a little bit more diciness. I don't know what I want to call it. Diciness is what I'll call it. But these guys are...
More aggressiveness, how about?
Yeah, well, aggressiveness is a good way to put it, as these guys are making moves, and Justin's doing a good job of kind of staying a little up because he knows he has those tires. He is aware that he has those slower tires, and these guys with those newer tires are just going to eventually come up and get past him, and he just doesn't want to be too much of a nuisance right there. So he's doing a pretty good job of staying where he is. So
now at some point, and that's the one good thing about a track like this. At some point, though, they will neutralize a little bit. So Justin, will be able to stay up. I mean, obviously, he's not going to be able to stay pace with a lot of the faster, but at some point, he's going to be able to neutralize out and stay with these guys. That's why I say a two-tire stop, and I've seen it happen at this race more than once. And we'll use Daniel Faulkner for example. He's out front right now. If we get a long green flag run, they start kind of getting spread out a little bit, and we have some green flag stops, I've seen guys do two tires at this place and get a huge lead. Even though they might be a tick faster, time's going to run out in order to catch them because the tire fall off can fall off and neutralize so quickly. So to me, track position is more of a key here. But it's all going to depend on how that caution falls or how the pit stop falls, so to speak, in order to utilize that. I mean, if you run it long enough and you have to take four tires, then the two-tire equation's out. But if a caution falls at the right spot, And then you don't take tires and you go, or you take tires and then you, or either way it works out to where you can get a 2-tire stop in. Then maybe yes. Trying to think of a scenario here that might work out. I've seen some guys do it, but if you can get it done right and it falls right, then I've seen track position here be more crucial than anything. Yes, you're always going to be slower, but if let's say you've got a 10 or 13 second lead and it's 30 laps, 20 laps to go, and the guy's only picking you off by a couple hundredths, he's almost going to run out of time. He's going to have to pick seconds or several tenths a lap off. And we've seen that a couple times at certain tracks.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that last week as well here. So that, yeah, like you were saying about time and where events fall and all that jazz, with how sometimes you just run out of time. You have it, but you just needed a little bit more time to get it. So that plays a huge factor. We're a little bit past halfway here, so yeah, we'll see how these guys go, about especially those guys that came in with those new tires. We'll see how, because these guys that got those tires on that last pit stop for that lap, what was it, 56 caution or whatever?
Yeah.
They're rolling pretty good. Looks like most of them came up pretty close to the front, if not up front.
Absolutely.
Because like we were saying, Daniel Falkingham right here, he's one of those that got him. So is Comstock. I know that. So I'll dive real quick into the schematics of the track real quick right here for you. So obviously, you know, I know, not everyone knows, but that's okay. We'll go with how this track's laid out a little bit. It's obviously a 1.5 tri-oval speedway.
Kind of mimics Charlotte a little bit.
Yeah.
Or Texas.
And it is obviously, like I just said, 1.5 miles, and there I had to find my spot real quick because I lost it right there for a sec. But turns will go into 12-degree banking to 20-degree banking progressively, as you got a good shot right here from Josh Parker's hood. And don't look like there's much banking, if any at all. Maybe 2 or 3 degrees, probably 3 degrees right here on the back stretch. Because you don't really go too much into the back stretch or front stretch on this one. It usually does for my other tracks that I look up, but right here it's not. So, but these guys rolling single file up here up front, and these guys are ones on fresher tires, so they're doing a pretty good job of keeping this race going, and we'll get some clean little battles going on here and there. And looks like Daniel Falkingham currently has the car up front to beat. So, but these guys are some very strong competitors right here, definitely in this top 10. So these guys are hungry, I'll put it. They're hungry. They want that spot. So we'll see how they can go about getting up there.
You got a lot of fast ones out there, and Smoke out there says, man, Daniel Falkingham is running one of the Ford Entertainment Group PCs. That's awesome there. I have to ask him what the specs and all these got, because I know there's many different ones. Like we said before, man, title sponsor here, Ford Entertainment Group for the Xfinity Series. You see Scott Simley. Call him Scott Smiley. Right now he's smiling. He's up in 11th. He's trying to work on Tommy Ryan right there to see if he can't get in that top 10 position. You got Jimmy Coleman right behind him. Talk about Justin Fuller, those older tires. It's just, you just see the drop off. We talk about lap times, but see, still here's the thing. Lap times. I'm talking about how, like, even though he's on those older tires there, Alex, check this out. Daniel ran a 32.50. Fuller ran a 32.9. So they're both still in the 32s, but it's about a 4/10 difference. And that's what I was talking about. That a guy, if he's far enough out front with a 2-tire stop or no tires, I mean, this right here is a position that Fuller could work with if let's throw out some scenarios here, because I see what Fuller's trying to do right now. Wait until the last pit stop. The problem if he comes in with everyone else on the last pit stop, he's pretty much, really he needs a caution right now. I think a caution would hurt him. Right now, a caution would hurt him. Because everybody would come on pit road and get tires, and I think that would be the final one. Everybody probably could go. So let me try to think about it for a second. That would really benefit him if everybody comes out on their final pit stop, because we're at lap 81 of 130. You don't want to get too far behind being Fuller, because the further you get behind, and you can already see he's about 8 seconds back, it's going to be a lot harder making that position up, just because you just saw the lap times there. He's not that far off, even with older, 40 lap older tires, so to speak. So I got a feeling everybody's probably going to be pitting around 95 to 100. Let's just throw that out there. So that'll leave it about 30 laps to go. If I'm Fuller, I either got to come in way earlier than these guys to utilize the new tires and stretch that lead out. So if I know that, if I'm Fuller, I got to come in here. If I can make it 35 laps or 40 laps, I got to at least come in here at 85 or 90. He's going to have to come in before all these other guys. If not, then I got a feeling if he comes in on the same time they do, he's not going to make up any ground. So kind of throwing out two different scenarios there. I don't know what I would do in that position. Chime in out there and let me know what you would do. If nobody else comes into pits until, let's say, lap 100, 105, and he comes in at lap 90, it might work out great for him. But if he starts seeing guys coming in, let's say at lap 93, 95, it might not work out too well for him.
Yeah, man, I'm saying that I'm right there with you, thinking that he should come here or within the next 5 laps or so if he wants, I believe, any chance of redemption from the spot. I don't want to call it redemption because that makes it sound bad, but I'll say progression from the position that he's currently in, because these guys are just rolling up here. So him in his spot, I think it would behoove him. However you say that little thing.
Good word. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. I mean, a caution right now, though, would not help him at all, because everybody's going to come on pit road then, and then he's going to be marred back in traffic on equal tires.
Yeah, so I think coming down relatively like now or so would give him the best chance to make up some ground. And
yeah, because you see him pit stops right now. Some of the guys, Chad Coleman, Steve Ritter, already on pit road.
Yeah, so maybe he needs to jump on with those guys, because Coleman's sitting there in 10th, right? He was sitting in 10th. I mean 11th, excuse me.
Yeah, he was in top 10.
So we'll see if he jumps on with these guys, and maybe they got something up their sleeve that could change a little bit, because I think, like you were saying, the amount of time we had left, given obviously the I don't want to call them the circumstances, the scenarios. Yeah, that's a word. Scenarios that you were given.
Well, that's what he wants. Justin Fuller, we were just talking about him. He is on pit road, but back on the replay here, because he went off track and he jumped his pits too. So, man, talk about just one thing after the other here. We told you we talked about him long enough, something's going to happen. We jinxed him. What happened right here to him, maybe it's when he's trying to get slowed down to come on pit road. And he comes out of 4, just bumps the wall. Yep. And then there, and that right there could be the nail in the coffin for him. Oh, that's going to be a black flag. Yep. Oh, and he towed it back to his pits. Are you kidding me, man? I tell you what, we're right there just talking about him. Yeah, he towed it back to his pits, and I think he pretty much just called it a night.
Yeah, it looked like right there the scoreboard was saying out, so.
Wow. So a mental mistake hurt him right here, and you know, this is what I talk about week in, week out. I love this tire limit stuff. And I'm not talking about saying, well, guys, you got 5 sets. They give them like 3 here for 130 lap race, 150 lap race. We know Justin Fuller's fast. I mean, we know that. He's one of the fastest. But doesn't always work out. You've still got to have that pit strategy. You got to have the whole package to win. And that's even in real racing. Be the fastest guy out there, but sometimes right place, right time, right pit strategy can put you out front.
Yeah, Ken is looking right here. Josh Parker's up to 3rd now after his black flag. He did a good job coming back from that one. Definitely defied what I was saying earlier.
And everything flipped around. Well, see, there you go. That's the flip side of the coin, is everything has went right for Josh Parker, who got the black flag earlier. Was patient. Everything fell into place for him right, and he was able to come up. So there's your flip side of the coin of one having a good day, one having a bad day, and everything going the right, and that's usually how it go out. I mean, both of those drivers, Fuller and Parker, to me are pretty much on the same level. They're very, very fast here. You see them up front a lot. But just unfortunately, you see, that's just racing. Things happen, and you've got to sometimes you either persevere, or sometimes you get beat.
Yeah, we just saw both sides of that, like you were just saying. Someone persevered, someone got that boot.
Yeah.
So, just unfortunate for Justin Fuller right there, though. But as he was running a pretty good race, I mean, like you were saying, we talk enough about him. Of course, some special happens, and now he's not here racing with us anymore, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like he dropped out. I mean, right there, he had to tow it back, so it's pretty much over. We're seeing some pit stops coming in now. You got Tommy Ryan right there hanging out. Looks like Mike Maltesi's dropping off on pit road. So the question here is when these top guys come in. When does Daniel Falkenham come in? Got a little bit of a lead, about 7/10 over David Comstock. Josh Parker right there. The Parker's actually the fastest of the 3. Not by much. Falkenham ran a 33:12, 33:29 for David, and a 33:02, 33:12, 33:16 for Ryan. All 3 of those top guys within less than 1/10 of each other.
Yeah, that's pretty close, man. Watching how it just goes back to how competitive and how even these guys are. These guys, great group talking about the competitiveness and how good these guys are actually. And because I remember the first race of the season, you were spitting out some of those iRacing rating numbers or whatnot, and they were just crazy. So these guys do a great job, and it just goes to show here how competitive this league is, and that's pretty neat to see here week in and week out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you're going to find some of the fastest ones throughout iRacing. I always say Sim500 has some of the fastest ones here and whatnot. You got David Comstock still out front, though, leading it. Oh, excuse me, Daniel Falkenham out front. David Comstock's hanging on the second there. So that Josh Parker up in the 3rd. Looking for that final pit stop here, though, as we coming up on, would it be about 30 to go?
Yeah, it'll be pretty close. I don't know whether they're going to follow, say, Daniel Falkenham comes first or whatnot. I don't know who's going to jump the gun first from this little lead group we got going on. So we'll see, though, as Josh Parker's closing in here on Comstock right here. Looks like he's making the move on the inside right here to get that position. We'll see if he can close it. It looks like he's getting pretty close. But this will go to show right here that it is not the easiest to pass at this track. So, I mean, it didn't look too difficult, but that goes to show how even these guys are with those times and whatnot, and how much more it takes to get up to the bumper and get around him and actually complete that pass. And that reflects on how the times play such a factor in that momentum. I don't think we talked about momentum since you brought it up earlier, and that momentum can pay you some nice dividends here. As it looks like Josh Parker now has Daniel Faulkingham in the lead in his sights. See what he can do from his spot right here in the second place.
He's a tick faster, right there. You just saw it, 33.18, 33.07. And those two guys are running. If I'm either Daniel Faulkingham or let's say David Comstock, I'm probably going to want to try to, one of those guys, one of those three, are going to want to maybe short pit one of the other ones. And short pitting, that's how you gain some positions. You can stay out now. That is the other side of it. If you can make up enough ground, there's no caution, obviously, and it goes green because we talk about if you get far enough ahead, because the one thing about green flag stops is it spreads the field out. So right now with David Comstock where he is, let's say Josh Parker or David Comstock or Josh Parker right there short pits Daniel out front. Daniel could stay out a couple more laps and get a huge lead and come into the pit and still maybe have that huge lead at the end. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I mean, it's rough. Then again, all three of these guys come down at the same time.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think Josh Parker right here is going to wait for Daniel in front of him to make that decision and just go with it. I think that's what pretty much this top five we're looking at right here is going to do. That's what I personally would do if I was sitting in any of these positions, but obviously I don't race, so what do I know? But anyways, that's what I would do personally, is my strategy, is come down, hope I get a good pit stop in a faster pit road time in general, make up a little bit of ground and just keep battling it out, because these guys are stretching it, and they're not really stretching it, excuse me, but that's kind of what I'm thinking will end up happening, is they're just going to follow suit with each other and see if they can win the battle on pit road.
And I'm with you there. So we'll have to see on the top three guys, Daniel Faulkingham, Josh Parker there, David Comstock and company. They all got it hooked up right now. Looks like Tommy Ryan, Doey Woods coming on pit road. EJ O'Rourke, remember he was up front earlier. He's back to 11th now. Still has to make his pit stop. Joey Katina got caught up in a wreck earlier on. He's there, seeing if he can't make up a little ground himself. As we look back in the back, Jose caught up a little bit earlier. Back at 23rd, Kevin Brown, who was one of the fastest earlier on, has just not been able to make his way back up front. He's in 24th.
Yeah, it looks like you got a couple pit stops going on now still. So I'm expecting this front group to come down. I'm not expecting them to stay out. It looks like Josh Parker has closed the gap, and now he is right here with Daniel Faulkingham for a nice little battle we got for the lead coming across a front stretch, and Josh will keep battling with him, and he's done a great job of, like you said earlier, persevering from that little mistake on pit road and that black flag, sending him all the way back to what, 29th or 28th or so. And now he's here battling again for the lead. So great job of persevering and seeing how he's making it happen now with
Parker.
It looks like he dives down pit road. He's short pitting him a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say if Parker would make if he would have made the pass on Faulkingham, I would have said that would have been Faulkingham's chance to just come on down pit road the next lap. But Parker here's the one taking the short pit route. So we'll see if this is helps out. If I'm Faulkingham, maybe come in this next time by or make it another lap. But Boy, I'll tell you what, Parker's got to be perfect on this pit stop here. Got into his pit box very good, clean. Definitely going to take 4 tires because they've been out there for a long, long time. You can see it right there, jacking it up. And 15-second stop. It's not too bad. See what Daniel does. Daniel does come right behind him along with David Comstock and Company.
Yeah, we'll see how that played out for him, because sometimes those 1 lap shorter pits work out for you pretty well. Sometimes they don't. We'll see if he can, as he's getting up to speed right now, Josh Parker is, to see how he can make and hold that speed as these guys are about to come off pit road here in just a second. Daniel got in and out.
Daniel got a very fast pit stop at a 1485, so he's going to make a little time up on Parker there. I always talk about the full length times, and man, I'm going to tell you, this is huge. You know, you talk about the time in and out. Josh Parker had a 44.45, and Daniel Falkenham had a 43.65, so he made up a lot of time. Remember, he was already leading, so that's just going to grow even more. But now you see on the field, though, here, Parker was able to get in front of Falkenham by just a little bit, but not too far out. But that one newer tires, let's see if he can reel him in. I mean, he's going to have to utilize them here early, because the longer it goes, the more fall off it's going to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We'll see if he can take advantage of it, because, I mean, 1 lap newer is 1 lap newer, obviously, and has a tad bit of an advantage just in like the lap length and how soon you get that fall off. But we'll see if Josh Parker can hold him off and keep that position in front of him as these guys are battling back up to get up to the lead. See how they're going to do it.
Well, you see the closing rate right there of it. They're actually going around some of the cars that are on older tires. Definitely good showing by those guys. And you see Ryan Howard right there. He's definitely on an older set of tires. Parker's closing in. It'll be all a matter of how much Howard wants to defend that position. I mean, unfortunately, not probably going to have that much of a tire to defend the position. But this is a track to where it's tough to pass. You can catch a guy, but getting around him is another thing.
Yeah, and Daniel Falkingham's right behind him. So he made mincemeat of those 2 cars that they were passing, and Daniel Falkingham's right there battling with Josh Parker and bringing him up. So seeing how that's going is now Josh dives down, make that pass on Howard right there. So it's like Daniel coming down with them. We'll see if that lap newer tires will pay off, because it looks like he is close. Right on the back bumper of Josh Parker.
Man, I tell you what, right there, the closing rate was very, very fast, because he had to check up just a little bit. That's the momentum side was talking about. Now they've cleared. Let's see, does Daniel Falkenham have enough to get around Parker? And I think he's going to want to try to push the issue here to get around him, because the longer it goes, the harder it is to pass. And Parker knows that, so he's definitely going to make that car wide and make it hard for Daniel Falkenham to get around him.
Yeah, I think he's going to do his best to keep him behind him, because that's what... Oh, as he dives down below... Josh Parker didn't shut the door soon enough.
A little bit of contact, 3 wide.
Touch.
Oh, boy, and that's what I'm saying. Parker's going to fight it, because he understands if he lets Falkenham get in front of him, it could be a done deal with as close as they are.
Yeah, it definitely could. And he broke the momentum a little bit of Daniel right there. Did a good job of doing so. And now he put him back behind him, but Daniel is still knocking on his back bumper. He's pretty close, so we're going to see how these guys duke it out to the end, because it looks like they are going to catch
E.J. O'Rourke, who has yet to make a pit stop out there now.
Yeah, I was just looking at the times. They are just moving. There we go. As now we got a nice battle going on for the lead between Josh Parker and Daniel Falkenham, and these guys are going to make it an exciting finish here, coming in
Not
with.
talked about this here much too, Alex, is dirty air. You hear that in the term of real racing. You see Falkenham right there. Yeah, he's a tick faster, but that car being behind Parker makes it push very hard, and it's going to make it very hard for him to pass him. And that's why he's trying everything he can to get around him right now, but it's just almost like he's stuck. I mean, you can see the closing rate right there. You see Parker going to try to protect the inside lane. We'll see. They'll go side by side. Parker's going to try to pinch him down just a little bit.
Yeah, as they're still battling pretty hard, and now they got these two cars to deal with. Maybe I won't provide too much of a little hiccup, but Josh Parker is not giving up that position easily.
And he shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
He knows if Falkenham gets in front of him, it's probably going to be all for naught. The bad thing is, as long as this battle goes, it benefits Parker more than it does Falkenham, because the tires just will fall off, and they'll be pretty much even after a while. I mean, you can see the lap times, a 32.04 to 32.01, and that time around I would say a 15 to an 18. So they're pretty much dead on each other.
Yeah, that's 2 laps in a row with the times you just said. Both of them in a row were 0.03 of a second difference. That is ungodly close. As we're watching here, it is so close. So
Just trying everything he
doing
can.
a good job of holding them off.
Trying to make him a little bit loose. I mean, you can see right there, I think he is definitely faster. Now, Josh don't want to do that now, because he'll hook that back in and send him a sailing. And right there, he got Josh Parker to drive into the turn a little bit too much. Made that car a little bit. Now, I think what he's trying to do right now is make Josh overdrive the car in the turn. And if he can, that'll push him right up the track, and you can see it right there. Want to protect that inside lane. Parker right now looks a little bit struggling with the car. And that's what Falkenham wanted. I think that's he got him to loosen that car up just a little bit, get him off his game plan. But you can just see that middle lane powers off the turn. Good race,
that middle lane right there in turns 1 and 2 it is looking very strong, just like you were saying, Joe. And Josh and Daniel are just duking it out. These guys are going hard at each other for that lead. So that's what I'm saying. Coming into 10 laps to go this time by. So they're making this little end stretch pretty exciting, because this is what you love to see, Joe. This is that stuff that keeps you on the edge of your seat. I mean, I always sit on the edge of my seat when I'm doing these broadcasts with you, but so I physically am on the edge of my seat.
Oh,
this
that
is
right
some
there,
exciting
right
stuff
there.
to
He got
see.
him wiggly in the turn there, Alex. So he might be what he needs. I don't know if he's going to have enough to push the envelope. Well, to see it come to the line. Well, that would be a drag race to the line right there. Parker wins it, but he might be there on the inside of him this time by. Parker's going to drive it in turn. Did you see that? He just drove that thing in the turn and hope it holds.
And held it did. That middle lane is still very strong coming up there through turns 1 and 2 right there. And it seems to be working very well for Josh Parker in making sure that he holds that position. That, I think, is a very good spot for him to run, especially in turn 1 and 2 like that. So he's just causing trouble for Daniel. He's not giving it up. Like you said, he is fighting to hold that position, and he is doing a great job of holding him off, because this is some nerve-wracking stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for both of these guys, for Daniel right there, he knows he's a little bit faster, but just cannot make that move. So got to cool those tires down. He's got to make Josh Parker, make a mishap, so to speak, on the start here, or on the front side. He's got to make a mistake.
As we got the gopher cam right there in the turn. Always a great view. Miss having the gopher cam, but anyways, that's these guys are just
See,
Oof.
right there coming out of the turn. That's what he wanted. And oh, I'll tell you what, he made it. Got him a little bit out of shape coming out of turn 4. And I think this might be with the momentum. I mean, Parker's going to have to drive that thing in hard again. But will the tires keep holding up? Right there, he wasn't able to clear him. Can Falkenham stay beside of him again? No. You just see that outside lane powering to the outside. Wow. But that's what Falkenham has to do. Has to get him a little bit shooken up. And it seems like he can do it coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, he's been doing it these last couple of laps as we've been watching this battle going on up here. So watching how he tries to stir that pot a little bit for Josh Parker right here is, like you were saying, as we're watching from his point of view, coming into turn 3 and 4, it looks like he just doesn't have the closing. I mean, he might be a little bit quicker in 3 and 4 right there, coming up to the stripe a little bit from what I saw, but it looks like Josh Parker's got it down in 1 and 2.
Yeah, they ran identical times that time.
That's just
nuts. That's how close they are up front. That's why you don't see Falkenham being able to just go zooming on by him. I mean, they're running within either almost identical to just a couple hundredths of each other.
Yeah, and watching again, see if he can get a nice little run up here to rattle him a little bit, see if he can get that little edge coming across the front stretch as Josh dives deep down on the apron. And looks like we're going into turn 1. He's got a little bit more space than he has before, so we'll see if Daniel can close it down in these next couple laps.
Good battle. I think Daniel's trying to back up, maybe going to see if we can't get one more shot here at him. Can't get them tires a little bit cool. I don't know. It's going to be close.
Yeah, it is. As we're coming to 2 laps to go, white flag next time around, and Daniel is doing everything he can to reel in Josh Parker, hopefully make that pass, maybe get a photo finish, who knows. It looks like Josh Parker is putting a little bit of real estate in between himself and Daniel Falkenham right there, but we'll see.
And this is the reasoning why I think Parker wanted to stay out front of Falkenham, as he knew after a while the tire fall off would just equal out. As the white flags out one more time for Josh Parker and Daniel Falkenham here. You got Ryan Howard still hanging on the 3rd there with Mike Kelly in 4th, but I just don't think Falkenham has anything left to try to get up there to Parker. It was so crucial. Here's your 3rd and 4th place battles. Mike Kelly's there. Quite sure he has anything to be able to get it out of turn 4. Final time. Josh Parker is going to put this thing in victory lane. Falkenham's going to come home in 2nd. Ryan Howard's going to home and in here on 3rd, as that was a good finish to all this back here in a great battle up front.
Yeah, Josh Parker did a great job of bringing her home with holding him off because he knew he had that 1 lap newer tire. So he did a great job of holding that position and making sure that he locked in that win, overcoming that adversity earlier on in the race. He definitely had enough time to make it up, and he did. So good on him to come out and finish with a win.
Absolutely. As we're going to see if we can get some of these guys jump up here in the waiting room, get a word with them. I tell you what, so Ryan Howard coming home here tonight in 3rd. Daniel Falkenham bringing it home right there along in 2nd. And Josh Parker getting a win here tonight. So good run by him, though. Good battle up front between all these guys.
Yeah, it was. And that was an exciting little stretch we had there at the end. That last, 15 or 20 laps, those two just duking it out for that spot. That was some exciting race. Hats off to those guys for keeping an exciting race going on.
Got any of them? We're just waiting to see if some of these guys going to jump up here and get a word with them. But I'm with you on that one, man. What an outstanding run to the end here on this one.
see Josh Parker in there.
Yeah, I got Josh, the winner, up here. Hopefully all the other guys will jump up in here with us. Well, we'll go ahead and get a word in with the winner here. We'll see if some of the other guys jump up here. Josh, join the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Man, I tell you what, well, one mishap on pit road. You got a black flag, had to work your way out back up front. Everything kind of just fell into order for you here tonight because I know it's a tough track to come back through the field. And then you had to hold off Daniel Falkenham those last laps. I knew it was important for you to stay in front because there you could see how the tires just fall off here. But, man, outstanding run. You did an outstanding job here tonight to pull off this victory.
Yeah, it was. I knew I was in trouble because I had caught lap traffic on the first tires and kept Dan pretty close to me. Coming out of pit road on the green flag stops, and he had one lap fresher tires than me, so I had to do all I could to block and kind of race him a little harder than I like to. But yeah, had to do what, like you said, had to pretty much stay up front. If he had passed me, that was it. The one lap fresher tires and clean air, he would have just drove away.
Well, absolutely, and that's what was kind of figuring because it's a really hard place to pass at this place. But nonetheless, you came home, awesome finish, and an awesome day here. Just everything fell right for you with a bad, fast machine. You got anybody you want to thank for this awesome victory?
Yeah, everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing. I want to thank them, Interstate Batteries, Charlie, Larry, everyone at Team Name, Chad, Dan, Comstock, Beasley, all those guys. You guys who are doing the broadcasts, everyone putting this on, Joey. Yeah, it was just a good race. It was a fun race. I got to thank Dan for racing me clean there. He could have used me up a little bit because I raced him a little hard. But, yeah, it was fun all in all.
Oh, no doubt about it. What's that?
Otter Adam, crew chief for me through Sway. I'm not doing good on Monday nights right now, but hopefully this momentum carries over.
Oh, there you go. You always need some momentum, like you said, to definitely carry a race to race. But, man, what an outstanding, dominating performance out there tonight and a good comeback again. Congratulations on that win, Josh.
Thanks, guys.
There we go. Josh Parker coming home. Well, it looks like we've got Ryan Howard and Daniel Falkenham. Let's bring him up here and let's get a word with him over third place. Ryan Howard.
Hey, Ryan, it's Alex up in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Alex.
Yeah, man. So you had a super strong race here this evening in that nice little Kit Kat machine. What are you thinking coming in with about, I don't know, coming into that last green flag stops or so, trying to make up some position, see if you could get up there and come home where you did?
Just lucky it went green and we didn't get caught on old tires with like a green-white checkered or something like that. Just tried to pit with enough laps where we could, hustle it because this track is really, really greasy. So you have to really manage your tires, and it's kind of a line-sensitive track at this point. So, yeah, it was congrats to Parker. I think they pitted a couple laps after I did, so I knew I was a sitting duck. I was just trying to hold on to third and do the best I could to come home with the podium. So we did that 2 strong weeks in a row, and yeah, it's another good run for us.
Yeah, and like I said, it's 2 strong weeks in a row, man. What are you thinking coming with that last little stretch right there after that pit stop with Mike Kelly coming knocking up on the door? See how holding him off was going. What do you think about that?
That last run, I ran pretty hard, a little bit too harder than I wanted to on the first run, and anything on that last run is just trying to stay in it as much as possible. So definitely wore some tire off in the last 28, 27 laps. And man, I just joked with Mike myself that I thought he had me coming off a 2 on the last lap. Was it coming to the white flag or the last lap? Because I caught Joey in the absolute worst place going into turn 1 that I could have, and I hit the bumps, and I thought once I hit the bumps it was just going to shoot me straight to the wall, and I figured Mike was going to have a huge run off at 2. So I guess he might have got a little stuck behind there too. So once I saw we had a gap coming off at 2, I thought we were pretty much good to go. But we tried something a little bit different tonight. This has not been one of my favorite tracks, even when it was flat. I love going to races in real life in Vegas, but definitely not one of my go-to mile and a half. So just happy to definitely come out with a top 5, and top 3 is even better.
It definitely is, man. And anybody you want to give a shout out to, thank for the strong top 3 finish here at Las Vegas this evening?
Gotta always thank you guys for doing the broadcast, and I wish it wasn't Monday tomorrow. I'm not ready to go back to work yet, but maybe we'll make the day go a little bit faster by watching the playback. So thank you guys. Thanks to all my sponsors, all the guys at Sim500. It was another good race, clean race, and we'll go on to Phoenix, I believe, or whatever the next track is.
Yeah, man. And like you were saying, some strong races here 2 weeks in a row. Hopefully you got some good, we were just talking about it, some momentum carrying you into tomorrow. Hopefully get the day rolling, coming off the evening tonight with a nice top 3 finish. So congratulations, man. Glad to have you up here. Strong 2 weeks in a row, man.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. Have a good one, man.
We go, third place man right there, Ryan Howard. Like I say, get a man a break. Got a great Kit Kat machine out there. Well, this man here, Daniel Falkenham, tried to do everything he could to get the win here tonight. Good run for him, just a little short here in second.
Hey, Daniel, it's Alex up at the booth. You got me?
How we doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Not too great. Kind of disappointed that we weren't able to get the win there. Had a great race all night. Just played a little bit of tire strategy there. Did deciding a set of tires when others didn't. We were able to control the race from there, and then we just got beat by the undercut. And it was just so hard to pass after that, because I destroyed my tires in the dirty air and just behind Josh, just try and push hard to get around him, and he hit his marks perfectly. I did everything I could to get around him, and I didn't want us to wreck and whatnot. So that's unfortunate. Really wish we could have gotten the win there, but nonetheless, I'm very happy with another second place, considering we had a really awful run last week. So at least it's good for the points to get us back up, hopefully up to the top of the standings after missing a race. So yeah, kind of disappointed, but I guess we'll take it, I guess.
Yeah, man. I mean, like you said, you had a super strong car for pretty much the entirety of the race, man. And after Josh got his little penalty right there coming up front, you were chilling up front, man. And then after that last green flag pit stop cycle, what are you thinking coming in? You closed the gap pretty quick on Josh, and then it was pretty much a shootout between the two of you. The last, 15, 20 laps? You guys were racing hard, man. What are you thinking trying to gain that little advantage to get that spot on him? Hopefully trying to eventually, if you could have, get that win.
Yeah, I knew once he pitted behind me, I had to immediately come. I thought about waiting maybe one more lap, but I knew I was just going to be in much deeper traffic, so I had to come the next lap. I was even thinking in my mind, I wanted to be the one before Josh to pit so I could have the tires try to get that gap, but it's pretty much guinea pig from there. Pretty much I was the one sitting out there, and I'm going to be the one to pull the pin. Josh pulled the pin first, and I had to come right behind him, and we executed really well on pit road. I think I cost us some time because I hit the line pretty much perfectly, but I had to get it stopped and woed down because I was coming in sideways. So I lost about 5 miles an hour on pit road. So, we were only like a second back when we officially really came out of the pits and got up to speed, but I think it could have been even closer. So that would have given me an awesome chance. I would have had a better shot if Ryan Howard and Josh got the racing. So, and just Las Vegas, it's a really hard track to pass as well, considering. And then once the tires evened out, my tires really lasted for about 7 to 8, probably to 15 laps, and then me and Josh evened out where I couldn't get another run on them. So, yeah, it was just crucial to pretty much whoever was the first one to pit road was going to win the race. So Josh did that. So congrats to him, considering I think he had to come from the back of the field too. So that was really impressive.
Yeah, and still a very, very strong run by you yourself and battle and put on that super exciting battle. I was talking with Joe about it, how exciting that was for that last stretch. You guys just duking it out for as long as you did and given the action that you did. So anybody you want to give a shout out to, thank for the strong second place finish here at Las Vegas this evening?
Yeah, I got to thank First Rate Bay Laps 207 for being on the car as always. Got to thank you guys for being on the broadcast. Definitely going to go back and watch this. Looks like definitely a fun finish to go watch. Got to thank everyone at team name, all my teammates, David Comstock, Chad Coleman, Josh Parker. So that's quite convenient. Roy Woods. And yeah, thank all those guys. Thank everyone who comes out and races each and every week. Thanks to Joey who puts on Sim500 and everyone who's involved with the leagues and stuff. And yeah, and thanks to everyone who was watching as well. And thanks to Ford Entertainment Group for sponsoring the series as well.
Awesome. Well, like we were saying, super strong finish. Great, exciting battle going on for the lead that last long stretch, man. Congratulations on that finish and making it do, like you were saying, coming off. Hopefully get you a little where you want it to be in the point standings. Hopefully get you to that spot. We'll see when the points come out. So congratulations again on that second place finish here this evening.
Thanks, Alex. See you guys next week.
There we go. Second place man, as always, Daniel Falkenham. He is fast, man. Like I say, week in and week out there, that Raging Cajun machine. Boy, I tell you what, he gave Josh Parker a run here tonight. Just came up just a tick short, unfortunately. But, man, what an outstanding race from start to finish. These guys put on a awesome show here. A lot of green flag racing, a few cautions here and there. But all in all, good race. And folks, I hope you enjoyed it. For myself and Alex and here and everybody at the Sim500, everyone, have a good night.